welcome to the We Are Weavers session. Really excited to connect with three awesome leaders within our network, amongst many of the other awesome leaders. Angie, Willow, and Pennie. And we'll be discussing all the things that they are doing as well as you are doing to weave the network together. We touched countless parts of the food web, and to be able to weave those pieces together through connecting with membership, growing membership, the important note of keeping boards strong, intact, and ideally changing on a term limit basis. All things that we can learn from one another in this space. So a little bit of a rundown as to how this session is going to play out. For the first 5 minutes or so, Anna and Dan are going to be highlighting the theory of change, which is kind of like the overarching umbrella of the September Leader Summit, and touching on the different roles within that theory of change. So that'll be the first 5 minutes. And then we'll hop over to our awesome panelists. Pennie will go first, followed by Angie, and then Willow. And then about 10 or so minutes each, we'll hear about all of the awesome work that they're doing. And you can jot down notes in the chat, jot down notes to ask afterwards. But after that portion, it'll be, yes, a Q&A, but would like to view it as a conversation first and foremost. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Great. Excited to have you here. And I will pass it over to Anna and Dan.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's really nice to see you all. My name is Anna Moulet. I know many of you, but not all of you. I'm the Executive Director of Slow Food USA. Thank you, Dion, for the introduction and getting us started here. I wanted to start the Leaders Summit talking about the theory of change. And for me, and I think many people, the theory of change feels a little intimidating and big, because it is, and it's taken us a long time to get to the spot where we can actually call it final and roll it out and share it with everyone. We started defining our theory of change in actually January 21. So it's been nearly 20 months of working on this together. A lot can happen in that time. I had a baby in that time. I was pregnant and had a baby and maternity leave, and here we are. But I'm really proud of the work that we have come out with. It is really grounded in the network. It's data driven. We went through a long process to pull information from annual reports, from interviews, from surveys with the network, doing feedback loops with the board of directors, with Slow Food International, with you all leaders. So it's really exciting to get to the point where we have a document that we can share out. So what is a theory of change? You know, it helps answer the question, what is slow food? If you have that like elevator pitch, if you ask 5 people, what is slow food? I think you would get 5 different answers, right? And often board members and new people have a hard time really articulating in a simple way what it is we do, why we should care about it, what our values are, and what we actually do in terms of like acting in the network. So my hope is that this document will really align the network and give us a common language for how to talk about slow food. So Mara, if you could put the link in the chat. There's 2 documents I want to share. I don't want to go through like the whole process, but there's a blog post where it maps out the process that we went through to get to the theory of change. And then the link that Mara just put in is the actual theory of change. There's a visual version, which is a simplified, beautiful thing. And then there's a more nuanced narrative, which gives more context. So, you know, as chapter leaders, community leaders, when you are mapping out programs and events for the year, use this document to pull what should our focus be. If you were wondering if a partnership is a good fit, use this document to see if it aligns. When you're recruiting board members, use this document so you don't have to make up new language, just copy and paste and use this document. When you're mediating conflict and you really need to center values and to make sure we're all aligned in how we do this work, use the theory of change to center these conversations. And I just wanted to end, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but one of the most helpful components for us as staff was this section of the roles and strategies. Like in this big food nonprofit ecosystem, what is the specific and unique role for Slow Food USA and chapter leaders? And that's that roles and strategies part at the bottom, where we talk about we are weavers, we are builders, we are storytellers, and we are disruptors. And that's why we use that framework to center, to organize the Leader Summit this month, because we want to spend some time talking specifically about what does it mean to weave, what does it mean to build, what does it mean to tell really good stories and to disrupt the inequitable food system that we are living in. So that is the document. Please spend some time with it. Let me know if you have questions or if there's any points of tension between what you see in that document and how your slow food group is operating. And then the next step is really for chapters to adopt this document and roll it out into your local strategies. So I want to turn it over to Dan. She is creating some toolkits and resources to help chapters with this strategic planning. And she's done some great work helping chapters also center equity, inclusion, and justice throughout this whole process. So Dan, over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces and some folks that I haven't had the chance to connect with yet. So I am Dan Miller. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. I'm the Equity, Inclusion, and Justice Strategist. I've been in that role for a couple of years. I've held some other roles and started as a volunteer leader myself. So really try to bring that perspective into all that I do on the national office team. As Anna said, we really hope that this document will situate our network's role sort of within the broader food movement justice. We really wanted to colorfully illustrate what progress looks like by bringing forth a lot of different definitions of success. And we really want to help leaders like yourselves, as well as external stakeholders, understand, again, how we do the work of slow food. So aside from bringing us all together around shared values that really help us embed equity in everything we do, this really is meant to serve as a foundation for local strategic plans that help you all at the local level align more with those national and international priorities. For some of you, I think it'll be a simple reframing of the work that you're already doing. For others, I think it'll be an opportunity to pull your efforts into stronger alignment with the political roots of slow food. But for everyone, we really want it to be a source of inspiration that sparks your curiosity and really reignites your slow food flame. We're already doing, as Anna mentioned, a lot to really embed the theory of change at the national office level. And a part of how we're hoping to bring that to you all in the network is this 3-phase strategy toolkit. It's a step-by-step strategic planning guide that helps chapters embed the theory of change into their efforts, as well as build a strong understanding of your own local context and the unique outlook for each of your communities. Some of the feedback that we've gotten on this document is that it does the hard part, right? It conveys some of those more nuanced definitions of good, clean, and fair food for all that you as leaders can slow down even more to really savor flavors together and steep in those conversations about the delicious revolution. There's a common language that we're bringing forth that we hope that you all really use to align yourself with other food justice organizations in your area. And you might even be able to use some of that verbiage when you're writing grants. And as you sort of continue to tell your stories, we'll have another session that's on storytellers. Today we're focused on weavers. We really hope that you can tie those local perspectives and those deeply rooted local stories into bigger overarching visions like food sovereignty and the strive for truly life-affirming food systems. We're also releasing an EIJ anthology that really details the initiatives and stories and sort of helping hands that led us to this inflection point and really speak to why we wanted to have a theory of change now, why we felt it was needed in our network. And so stay tuned for that. And just a reminder that the theory of change document itself is really our compass. It's our North Star. So bookmark it, print it out, bring it with you to the farmer's market or when you're tabling, and reference it however frequently you need to along your respective journeys of joy and justice.
Just one more thing to add, and we actually printed out, we love this document so much, we printed these out and included them in the chapter swag kits for the membership drive. Dion has a lot of these in his home and would like to get them out into the world. Help Dion clear his living room and make sure that you get a kit for your chapter if you haven't already, right? So there's a postcard that you can use for tabling. It's in English and Spanish on the back, and then the theory of change is a more helpful like internal document with your board.
Yeah, please.
Please.
Yeah, there are plenty of them to go around. So it's a beautiful booklet. And it's really straightforward. So thank you, Anna and Dan, for all of the hard work. Anna, you mentioned you gave birth and you to a human and also to these things as well. We Mark can help with the chat for getting swag kit and booklets. But what we'll do is we'll transition over to Pennie. If you have any questions about theory of change, please drop it in the chat. And Dan, I'm happy to answer those questions. But love to hear from Pennie over at the East End Long Island chapter of Slow Food, talking about all things weaving an incredibly strong community out on the far reaches of New York City.
Far.
Take it away.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really honored to be able to share really about our wonderful chapter. I'm so thrilled with what we do and happy to share a little bit. First thing I want you to notice is that we wear this to all events. It says, ask me about membership. So all our board has it. And whenever we're out or wherever we are, you know, that's part of who we are and what we do. And I always tell people the reason why we want our membership to grow is because it gives us a bigger voice on the East End, that we can be involved in different problems or opportunities that come up, that we can lend a hand and tell people this is what we stand for, good, clean, and fair. And the more members we have, the bigger our voice is. So that being said, I was asked to talk a little bit about our board, and then we'll go into membership. So this could be a little bit, I don't want to say dull, but this is basically who we are. We're a chapter that's almost 20 years old, and I have been on the board for almost 6 years. We have bylaws on our board, and I am timing out because I am at my 6-year mark. And part of what we've done this last year is establish who the next board is. So our board is made up of 12 elected leaders. And we have I always get this wrong. We have a steering committee, and the steering committee is the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, the leader of membership, and the treasurer. Those 5 people are the go-to people. Those 5 people are when something comes up and you need to really talk it out with someone and get opinions. You can go to the steering committee and then to our board. But we have a very active board, and really everybody shares what's going on. Everybody is involved in everything. Part of being on the board is that you have to chair or co-chair a committee. So everybody's active in one way or the other. And how we communicate is via Slack. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. It's I don't even know what to call it because I'm so not techie, but it's a way of communicating, and it's only for our board. So it's great. So you don't have to worry about emails coming or texts coming. Slack, you want to reach out to someone or a committee, Slack is always there for it. So it's been working really, really well. And I'm really happy to say our board works really, really well together. And part of the reason why I think goes back to recruiting. And we recruit members usually by either someone says, hey, we think this person would be great as a leader, or we realize someone in our membership who's volunteering a lot. I froze there. Volunteering a lot, wants to become active. So what we do is we have a conversation. And I think what makes for a great leader is before they take the plunge, they know what's expected of them. So we have a whole a sheet made out showing them what the structure of the board is, what their responsibility is, what their expectations are. So when they show up, they're like, oh, I didn't know I had to go to meetings. I didn't know how to become I didn't have to be a member of Slow Food. That's all laid out. There's like no surprises. So that's a really important part, and getting them to show up to what they do best. One of our new board members is a chef, and she's into cooking healthy food, and she was the perfect person to take over a chef to school program. One of our previous board members ran a really big bakery for 20 years. He was great for helping us develop our flour power recipe. So my point is, know what you need on the board. Where is there a lack? Is there a lack in communication? Get someone who's an IT person. Are you having trouble structuring the finances in your board? Get a person who knows about finance. That's going to give you strength. And as the leader, it's going to take a lot of the pressure off of you, because I don't know IT. It's not my thing. I could not really work on sending out an email blast or working on a website. But when you identify what you need, you get those people to fill that slot. It's just so cohesive, and we all work well together. And happy to say also that we're all, from this experience, we've all gotten really tight and great friends. And that's another bonus of Slow Food. I'll give you my quick 30 seconds of how I got involved in Slow Food. Is my husband and I moved, relocated out here, and I said to him, we have to find peeps. We have to find our people. And I would volunteer for one organization and another, and didn't like it. And then I saw this thing about Slow Food, and they were having the annual meeting, and it was a potluck. And I said, we'll go. Chances are we'll have to go out to eat afterwards, because I'm vegan and gluten-free, and my husband says a pain in the neck eater, but let's go. And when we went, and the food was amazing, that's how I found my peeps. So it's become our social group, and it's great to be around people who have the same values and think like you do. So that's why picking the right people to serve on the board is so important. Almost as important as membership. And we have a really, really strong membership committee, and all of us are involved in membership. And like I was alluding to, we take membership really, really seriously. Everything we do, everywhere we go, we are trying to recruit new members, and we do a lot. We are a very event-oriented chapter. Even in the pandemic, I think, which motivated us to get more event-oriented than less, we made a commitment every month we were going to meet with our membership. When we had COVID, we met through Zoom, but every month we did something. And now that everybody's back being community together, we do a lot of different events. And what I want to let you know about these events is some are free. We live in a very rich wine area. There's 45 vineyards out here. So what a perfect place to meet people over a glass of wine. We do something called Slow Hour. It's our version of happy hour. We'll pick a vineyard, come, buy a glass of wine if you want, hang out, meet fellow people in the community. And what we've done this past summer with our Slow Hour is we've begun partnering with like-minded community organizations. Why is that great? Well, it's great for a few reasons. Some people may not just want to come and drink a glass of wine, but the fact that we have these other communities, these other organizations joining us, one, they want to hear about it, and two, it might be the organization that they're involved in. So now they're coming and listening to our Slow Food spiel. We're listening to what they are. Communities meet and mingle. And from there, we've been growing. When we have an event, we recently had an event at Cornell Marine Center. It was a big dinner, and they pushed it on their website. We pushed it on ours. Social media on both sides. The message was out everywhere. as well as I might say was picked up by the New York Times. That was a surprise. Thank you. That was so super exciting to have that. So working with organizations really has made a difference. Partnering really has made a difference. As far as reaching out to our community membership besides events, we send out an e-blast every other week. Social media posts usually once or twice a week. And whether it's pushing what we're doing or pushing one of our fellow organizations in the community, we take care of them, they take care of us. It's exposure. It's really about exposure. Membership month, this month of September, we've been planning it for months. This is a huge, huge month for us. We expect 25 to 30 new members and tons of renewals because we've been doing this for so long that everyone automatically is renewing, not everyone, but so many people are automatically renewing in September, and we sweeten the pot. And this time, because we received a Negroni grant for one of our programs called Flower Power, we are really, really pushing Negroni Week. So what we've done is we've reached out to our SOAs. We've reached out to local restaurants, to bars. Who wants to be involved in this Negroni Week program? We're making a map. We will just made, if you check our social media, we just had a local, I don't know what, cocktail maker. I know there's a better word than that, but I can't think of it. Mixologist, that's it. Making a Negroni, and it's on social media. Now, it's very exciting. But we sweeten the pot, because if you become a member or renew in the month of September, we've created this gorgeous gift basket. In it is the Arc of Taste book. In it is all our Slow Food East End swag. We have aprons, we have hats, we have t-shirts. We're putting in a bottle of Campari. We're putting in Negronis to go, and a gift certificate of their choice for any of the Negroni people who participated. You become a single member, you get one raffle. You become a family member, you get two. It just so happens that this month, actually this Sunday, there's something called the Foodie Tour. We didn't start it, a local synagogue started it. And there's probably 40 places out here that people can stop. They buy a ticket and they stop. And last year we had a table at the start of this tour. This year we have the same. The basket will be there. We're going to go to different events. Bring the basket. Now we'll bring the great postcard, and we'll get people to join. Another thing we've done over the years, Dion, is this a high sign? Am I almost done? Okay, I'm almost finished. Another thing that we've done over the years when we go to events, like our annual meeting that we do in November, anyone who becomes a new member gets a free t-shirt. We do a huge Earth Day event now. Anyone who becomes a new member gets a t-shirt. People love swag. And then our name is out there. So that's what we do.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Renee's on it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I just
think I
wanted
got it
to.
all out. I think I got it all out there.
Wow.
Those are some really incredible ideas.
And I invite you all just like come to
yeah.
our website and follow us on social media. So then you get to see what we do. And by all means, questions, just reach out to us. We want to see everybody's chapter grow.
Speaking of questions, we have a handful in the chat.
Okay.
So we'll get to those, and then we'll transition over to Angie.
Okay.
There are a couple. One was mostly answered. Rick mentioned, what does it take to be a member of your chapter? Are there any dues or just joining an email list?
It's just whatever the dues are for a member of Slow Food USA. And then we will really, really push Give What You Can Day next week. That's another big thing that we really push. Awesome.
Perfect. From our co-panelist, Willow, where is the money coming from for the gift baskets? Is it coming from the raffle, or what's the source?
We do a lot of fundraising during the year. We have a silent auction that brings in a lot of money. We have events that bring in no money, like I said, slow hour, and another event could be $150 a ticket. So from there is where we get the money to do everything.
Awesome.
That's a good investment.
Yeah.
For membership month, that's a really good investment. I love that. We're going to copy it in some
Good,
form.
please do. Please do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, it's perfect.
That's what it's
You
all
know I
about.
will. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Renee's from Slow Food St. Louis as well. And Tatiana from Slow Food Hudson Valley asked, is the quote, "Ask me about membership," but in the swag kit? Currently it's not.
No, we made them
Though
ourselves.
I'm happy to, if you're okay with us stealing some designs.
I was
Yeah,
already going to steal it, so it'd be great if Slow
Absolutely.
Food USA stole it.
I think maybe
for
if you
sure.
ask Laura about it, you could find a lot more about it. So yeah, it's great. And all our board members have it, and we put our name on, and we just like walk around. Yeah.
No, and I think really quickly is we just had an event where we were weaving with, there was a taco bar, but we had like 3 different organizations involved, and I was going around to each table and, do you have any questions about Slow Food? Do you have, so many people ask about membership. They ask, what is Slow Food? Because we were bringing in different people from the band, from the restaurant, from the, and so that's a perfect, I love the button. Yes, awesome. Yes, put
Another
that in
thing-
the swag.
Just one more thing that you mention it now, because when we do events, sometimes we find people might not be ready to become a member. So we always ask them for their name and email address. So we can put them on so they get the e-blast, so they get everything. So they really get to know a little bit more maybe before they make that commitment.
Yeah, we have a QR code that we have on our events, and people just, and it goes to like a Google Doc and they fill it in, and then they go
Great.
automatically to our newsletter.
That's great.
That's awesome. Pennie, thank you for
Thank you, everybody.
not just your experience, but some really awesome ideas. And great asking other questions from the gallery. Keep it coming. Sweet. Well, I will take the spotlight off of Pennie and shift that spotlight over to Angie, just a little bit more south in northern Louisiana.
Just a little.
Just a touch.
So, Dion, it's 7:32, or for me, it's 7:32. 10 minutes. I'm watching my clock, so I don't.
Yeah, I'll put my I'll rear my face
You'll pop
again
up.
at 8.
Okay.
At 7:42.
I give a lot of speeches. I'm used to it.
Okay.
Great. Well, Angie White from Slow Food North Louisiana, and I know it seems funny to have that name, but a lot of people who haven't been to Louisiana, when you hear Louisiana, what do you think of? New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans, we're a boot. For those of you who have seen a map, we are shaped like a boot. New Orleans is the toe. We're the part of the boot you pull up like you were putting on cowboy boots. So we're at the very opposite end of the state and could not be more culturally different. But that's okay, because we love our Southern brothers and sisters, and they're great. But I'm located in Shreveport, Louisiana, which, to give you an idea of where that is, we're about 3 hours due east of Dallas. We're on the same interstate, I-20. Our region is made up of we have a lot of agriculture history here, but much of it is growing commodity crops, not things that are being grown for a local market. However, we do have a handful of very slow food minded farms here. And a lot of what we do is try to educate our food community that they exist and how can they connect to them. And many of them are slow food members and very involved in what we do. So I know that every slow food chapter is different. Whenever I participate in these national leadership conferences, it's so interesting to learn about the dynamics of the different chapters, because some are very farm heavy and farmers are the leaders of their chapters, and other places they're chef driven. Ours is more people who are just very passionate about food. And we have a pretty dynamic board. I think I saw that one of our board members, Hardette Harris, was on the call. She's been a board member for a long time, and she's a chef. She's a champion of North Louisiana cuisine. And that may not mean anything to you all, but most of the time when people think of Louisiana, the food they think of is not from our part of the state. And it kind of crept into our consciousness. Well, she's a champion of getting people excited about North Louisiana cuisine. And we just gave her a stipend to go to a writer's workshop where she can finally finish her cookbook that she's wanted to do for a very long time. So I hope she's still on the call, but we have chefs, we have
I'm here.
yay, all manner of people on our board who represent a wide variety of backgrounds. So that's really what our chapter's about. We've had a pretty steady membership, I would say, for the last decade or so. Always we're bringing on new members. Sometimes people move away, but it's been pretty steady. But what I do get excited about Membership Month, because we always have a lot of different events that we do. And this is a big time for us to drive membership. Although we had an event in August that I think we got 3 or 4 new members from, just because I am very mindful of the fact to say, this is a membership organization. You don't have to be a member of Slow Food to participate in our events, but it does help support what we do. And so I encourage everyone, whenever you do have an event or you're talking to new people, to say that, it's not a coercion tactic, but it does let them know that's how we work. So, but during Slow Food Month or the membership drive, we have usually anywhere from 2 to 4 what we call slow food nights. So we partner with restaurants in town who are slow food minded, who've partnered with us in things. And we will host a night, usually on one of their slow nights, so we can help drive traffic to their restaurant. It's co-promotion, but we have a slow food table set up. We have volunteers there for the dinner session of the evening or of their day. And we try to educate the servers that are working that night about slow food and who we are and what we're about. Most often the chefs or owners are members of Slow Food, and so they educate their servers too. Many of them will have a featured dish that involves either something from the Ark of Taste or something that is an heirloom product. And last year when we did it, the bartender at one of the events, he was participating in Negroni Week kind of on his own. So he did some special cocktails around that. Sometimes the restaurants will give us a portion of sales from the night. We don't expect it of them, but they do occasionally. So really it's more of an awareness building event than it is necessarily a money-making event. We have a QR code on the membership document that we have on the table so that people can scan it and it goes straight to the Slow Food USA Join Us page. People can do it right there on site or save it for later. One of the things that we really promote to drive membership, and honestly, I think it's a thing that does get a lot of renewals, is we offer discounts to Slow Food members for the events that we host that are ticketed. Usually it's about a 15% discount, and based on the amount of events that we have throughout the year, which are a mix of free and ticketed things, you can get your $60 membership back. So oftentimes when I send out an announcement about a new event, in it will say general admission price is this, current Slow Food member price is this, and I put in parentheses, discount code sent to email on file. Well, that's often when I get emails from people who say, hey, I didn't get my discount code, and I can quickly write back to them and say, you didn't renew your membership, but here's how you do it. And they want that discount, so they then renew their membership. I've had that happen now 3 times since we announced an event we're doing at the end of September. So that doesn't really benefit us technically, but it's a promotion that we offer to encourage membership, and I think it's been successful. So this year we only have 2 Slow Food nights planned because we have an event that I'm terribly excited about. So we completely missed the boat with the beans campaign last year. Shame on us. There was a lot going on. But when you announced that greens were going to be the focus for this year, well, I'm sorry, but the South and especially Louisiana and Hardette, I want to hear an amen from you. Greens are our thing. So
amen.
Hardette's greens, by the way, she sells them in stores around town and they are celebrated. But we decided that we could combine the two. So September 25th, we're hosting an heirloom beans and greens supper. And what I'm excited about is the partnerships that have developed around this event. So we're hosting it at a location called MS Kick. It stands for Milam Street Kitchen Incubator and Community Kitchen. It is run by a historically Black college called Southern University. We have their only community college here in Shreveport. And they developed this program as a way to support small food businesses. It may be food trucks who need kind of a commissary kitchen to work out of, or people who are making a sauce of some kind and they need a kitchen that's certified to do that. They give them a lot of technical workshops and expertise along the way. We helped write support letters to help them get the grants to start the program, but for years we've been trying to figure out how to partner. And this is a great opportunity for us to do so. They have a nice big event space where we can seat 60, and obviously a huge kitchen where the chefs who are participating can heat up their food. We have 6 chefs who are partnering with us. That way it's not too much of a burden on anyone. Hardette is one of our chefs, and she is making her greens that everyone loves so much. Another of our board members, Chef Gabriel Balderas, he's on the Slow Food Cooks Alliance. He is going to be doing heirloom beans, but what we've done is we've split it into a vegan and a non-vegan plate. So we have a chef in town that actually is operating out of MS Kick, and she was featured in a Bon Appetit article about how a lot of the new quick serve restaurants that are popping up are actually vegan and or run by Black chefs or Black entrepreneurs. And she was the featured business. Her name, okay, Hardette, help me, because she's changed her last name a few times. Is it Jocelyn Pickens? I think it is. She has a business called Vegans on the Run, and she's going to be preparing the vegan greens. We have another Slow Food member who is doing the vegan beans, and I'm sorry, another MS Kick business is making our dessert. He's going to do a vegan and a non-vegan version. And then Shreveport Biscuit Company, whose owner is a Slow Food member, is making a cornbread biscuit. She'll have a vegan and a non-vegan version. So far ticket sales are going great. The other exciting part is that we have Shreveport Green, which is it's a nonprofit that started out around community beautification, litter remediation, but now they've really moved into providing fresh foods into food deserts. So they have a mobile market, and they've got all kinds of urban farms that they've started. They have a hydroponic container that was donated by the electric utility here, and they are growing our heirloom greens for us because, y'all, it's been hot down here. You can't grow anything, not even greens. So they planted those for us. We're crossing our fingers that we're going to have enough to be able to use them for this event. Another partnership. And then lastly, we are using students who are in the program at Job Corps. They're in the culinary program. I think this is a national program. I'm not sure who oversees it, but these are students in technical training, and it benefits them to get volunteer hours, working in a service environment. So, but they're being paid, and we're paying our chefs. We're covering their food costs. But really, this is meant to be an opportunity for our members to invite people who are not members to learn about Slow Food, to learn about our chapter. We're going to have some individuals that we work with, like Hardette, to come and talk about ways that we've partnered together so they can kind of get the gist for what we do and what we're about. And we will be giving away an Arc of Taste book as a door prize. Probably going to be doing that a lot at a lot of our events coming up. The last thing that I would say for helping to drive membership, and we do this during membership month, but also throughout the year, is look for organizations that, especially in the theory of change, may fit the bill for helping you bring in a new community of people that you haven't interacted with before. And when they have events where they allow vendors to set up booths or tables, sign up. So last year during membership month, our LGBTQ organization in town, they had postponed their Pride in the Park event not to be in June because it's just too hot to be in a park in June down here. They moved it to September. And so we signed up as a vendor, and we got several new members because of that event. So always be on the lookout for organizations that may bring in a new audience for you. They're usually happy to have new vendors participate in things. I'm trying to think of anything else, but largely, I think that's a pretty good representation of what we do. Again, just like Pennie said, we have events that are free. We have farm field trips that are free. We do cooking classes that don't cost very much, but we're really passionate about getting people to learn how to cook their own food. And then we do ticketed events like the Beans and Greens event, or our annual big fundraiser called Fet on the Farm, which is a big dinner at a farm. So, but that's us in a nutshell, I think.
Angie, that sounds incredible. And love how you're able to lean into people within the network, whether it's membership or members or people who are direct on the board like Herdette, and to lean into their strengths and the work that they're already doing, and just having a slow food twist onto it.
Well, we're lucky. We have some very passionate chefs and farmers in our area who very much align with the slow food mission. So we're glad that we have found them, and we want to promote what they're doing as much as we want them to be a part of slow food.
Perfect. There is one question in the chat. If anyone else has any questions, and mind, pop it in the chat, or after this question, ask away. But Rick asked, how often do you have ticketed events and at what price points? And for this, could you be specific in terms of like an event and like a dollar number that goes with it?
I'll give 2 examples. So for the cooking class that we did in August, it was a vegan cooking class with one of our slow food members. She's an amazing chef. It was $25 for general admission, and it was $20 for members. We sell tickets through our website. Our website was designed to allow us to create ticketed events, and it allows me to create a discount code. We email our members with that discount code. Nobody else can see that. But we market our events, obviously on our website, but through social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and we send emails to our membership. That's another kind of exclusive benefit, if you will, of being a member, is emails only go to our members. Everyone else can follow us on social media, but we tell them that whenever we have events. And then I would say for this event we have coming up, September 25th, it is I think it's $55. Well, there's different options. We have a no alcohol ticket, and we have a vegan option and a non-vegan option, and then we have a wine and beer optional edition. I had a learning experience about applying the discount code to all those different things, but I figured it out quickly enough, and I only had to reimburse one person. All of our members come to Slow Food for different reasons, just like your chapters. And some of them come because of a love of food. Some of them come because they're very passionate about veganism. Some of them come because they love to cook. We've had several new members who had moved to the area and saw us at an event somewhere and came up and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. There's a slow food chapter. I feel like I'm going to find my people here." Just like I heard Pennie saying earlier. So people find us and come to us for a variety of different reasons, and we try to create options that can meet as many of those wants and needs as possible.
That's great. It's a really good, I think after the past few years, it's really awesome to have a point where people can find other people in person. Yes. And enjoy their presence.
I'm a people person, so I like being around people. And I thankfully had enough little pods during the pandemic that I wasn't too deprived, but I think a lot of people didn't have that, and they crave human interaction just the way our culture has gone. We've lost opportunities for that. So we do try very hard to create many opportunities for people to come together with Slow Food North Louisiana, that it doesn't always have to have a cost. We usually have a potluck event during Terra Madre. There's no cost to that at all. And for those of us who love to cook, it's an opportunity for us to cook and share our love with our fellow Slow Food members.
Awesome. Well, hopefully some of us can make it down for a potluck.
And I don't have a button, but this is what I wear at all of our events to identify myself as Slow Food. So for those who don't know this wackiness about Louisiana, we like to spell anything that sounds like O-E-A-U-X. So this is go slow. I had to fight them on spelling slow correctly. They said S-L-E-A-U-X. But this is our chapter's shirt. We have stickers. People go nuts over the stickers. We give away a lot of stickers at all of our events. Slow the Fork Down has been extremely popular.
Yeah, that's a popular one for us as well. Joe has his hand up, and then after Joe's question, we'll bring it over to Willow.
Yeah, so I just have to show Angie that I do have Pennie's flag. So
Yay! That's
picked it up.
us.
That is Italy 2016. Sunpie was there. I met Sunpie there.
Awesome. Well,
New
that's
Orleans.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, go slow all over the place. Thank you, Angie, so much. And as we make our trek out of the South and onto the West Coast, I'd love to introduce you all to Willow from Slow Food East Bay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and welcome everyone. It's so fun to hear. It's always so fun to like hear from other chapters, because it can, like, we all get so busy with the work that we're doing. It's like, oh, wait a second, there is a whole community doing the same work we're doing, which I just think is both inspiring and gives a lot of energy to it. So it's always so good to be around other people. So I was going to start a little bit talking about our statement of values around the same time that Slow Food USA was coming up with the theory of change. We were kind of doing the same thing in our own chapter, because we realized as we were starting to think about doing some strategic planning that we had no central document that could act as a base for the work that we were doing. We really felt like we were doing good work, but we wanted to kind of create a document that really codified what we were already doing and then gave us some guidelines for how to move forward. And one of the things that we chose to do in that statement of values, a mission statement, and I can share that link in the chat once I finish so that people can take a look at it. But one of the things that we did is we chose to center the joy and the good of the good, clean, and fair for all, because we really saw like ourselves, at least, okay, I should probably back up and talk about where we are. So we're in the East Bay of the San Francisco area. So that covers Oakland and Berkeley and Richmond, but so we're dealing with a lot of urban areas, but all the way east into places like Walnut Creek and Orinda, places that are a little more suburban, a little more rural, but not really farmland. So not only is it a really large geographical region, it's an incredibly diverse people region. And within this region of San Francisco, there are a lot of organizations based in food work, a lot. I mean, we jokingly say you can't kind of spin around with your arms outstretched without hitting someone who says that they work in food of some way, shape, or form. And so we tried to really think about what sets us apart, what makes us different. And this idea of centering good, of using good as a way to approach the clean and the fair for all piece, kind of recognizing the history of our organization, and rather than kind of turning away from it, really leveraging it, using good as a way to kind of get people in the door so that we can then have the more maybe difficult conversations around the clean and the fair. Um, and in doing that, we also started to think about, okay, well, how do we then do that? What does that look like in practice? And we chose to think of our work in like a pyramid. So if we think about the base of our pyramid, the place that we are going to spend the most time and the most energy, that is in finding the people, the food justice work, the people who are doing food access, the mission-based work, finding those people and leveraging them, or more like, sorry, that's the wrong word, amplifying them. So making sure that we're using our platform. So whether that's Instagram, where we have 1,800 followers, Facebook, where we have nearly 2,500, and then our email list, which is 1,700 people, using that in order to bring attention to other organizations or other people that are doing the really good work on the ground. And then the second part of that pyramid, the other piece, is to act as a connector to seeing, because really what is so beautiful about slow food is this umbrella work of good, clean, and fair. It's so broad. So it's like we are looking at things from a 10,000 foot view. So we can act as a connector between different food organizations or between consumers and producers. We can kind of look at the broader view. So those people that are doing the work, we can make sure that they know about each other. And then the last, kind of the tippy top part of the pyramid, are actually our own events. So although we do a lot of events, we don't really see that as our primary goal. We see those other two things as our primary goals. So in terms of kind of moving from that, and then how do we use that? When we think about our events, we're always trying to find those people that are doing the good work, and a little bit like Angie was just saying, I think Angie was saying it, like seeking out unlikely partners, whether that's unlikely venues or partners, organizations, people that are doing other really good work within the justice system or within social justice, and really thinking about or trying to highlight the intersectionality of food. You know, food everybody eats, and food has connections to so many other things. So when we have our events, we're always looking for those unlikely partners. And then we always really make sure that we never do an event by ourselves. Like we are always seeking out partners. We're always looking to find people who are already doing things and reaching out and offering to partner with them on their own event. Or if we start to dream up our own event, reaching out and trying to invite people into the conversation. And kind of then inherent in that, if we think about money and the way that money plays into a lot of this, we really make sure that we act as inclusive as possible for any of our events. So choosing venues that are public transit accessible so that people can get there, always offering sliding scale tickets to anything that is ticketed, and always having a note that will offer a discount code to anyone who wants one, no questions asked. Because our community is so diverse, I mean, both culturally and racially, as well as geographically, this is the way we kind of think about having a big tent and the way we invite people in. And then kind of alongside that, we always really try and ensure that the people involved in our events get paid. We rarely ask for chefs or food producers to donate their time or their products or any money. We really want to make sure that they are valued for their time and their efforts. So, you know, it's like I'm listening to Pennie and I'm thinking like, ooh, wouldn't it be nice to have money to do like gift baskets? But it's just not something that we in the past have centered. Instead, we're like, anytime that we have an event, we try and break even, or maybe we keep $1 or $2 from each ticket for Slow Foodie Spay, but every single other cent goes back out to the people that were involved in our events. And what that does is it also fosters a sense of partnership and a sense of people being honored for the work that they're doing, so that then they seek us out as partners in the future, or they're going to give a good word to another chef or another venue or another producer to tell them that they should work with Slow Foodie Spay because we're so transparent and we try so hard to center them. So just in terms of, thinking about our mission statement, that's how we apply it to our events. And then going into membership, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about where I think we might have fallen flat. You know, I mean, I think that we do a lot of really wonderful things out here, but there's certain things that we haven't necessarily kind of lifted up the way that we probably should. And I really think that membership is one of them. Partially, I think it came originally out of a kind of a feeling of really wanting to be inclusive. So in all of our languaging, we never say members, we always talk about supporters, because we really want everyone who supports us, whether that's just by following us on social media or signing up for our newsletter list, that they are just as important as everyone else, even if they don't have the money for membership. And I think that in the very past, it was really hard to explain to people like where the money went. I think that has changed, and I've been really like, I applaud everyone who is at Slow Food USA right now, because I think there's been a lot more transparency in where the money goes. And then it makes us as chapter leaders, it makes it easier for us to kind of sell memberships, because we can tell people where their money, and it's very tangible. They can see where it is, or where it's going. That is, but it is something that we would like to change. So we're in the process right now of recruiting for new board members, and one of the roles that we are recruiting for is a membership coordinator or membership manager, to start to think about, okay, how do we kind of relay, or how do we change some of these supporters into actual paying members, whether that's through Give What You Can Day or through them paying the full $60 at other times during the year. And trying to think of ways to reward those people for being members as well. There is, I think at one point in our board conversations, when we were talking about membership and what would we do to reward those people, the idea of giving discounts for a couple of our board members didn't hit well for them, because in their minds, if people could afford to pay for a membership, then they can also afford to pay full price for tickets. So how do we then find a way to thank those members, but do it in a different way? So we've been talking about doing maybe some private events with people, or finding another way to recognize them. So that's something that we're working on. And so then talking about mentioning that we're recruiting for board members, that is something that we're doing. And it is the third time in 3 years that we are having to do a call for leaders out of a need, like not just a want, but a need, because people have had to move on. And this is partially because, as we have recruited board members in the past, we have made it a very specific goal of ours to seek out younger and a more diverse leadership, which has been really wonderful, because it's brought a lot of new voices, a lot of new faces into both our board membership, but also into a lot of our events, because those people are coming from these wider communities. But we've also found that because of it, we're experiencing a lot more turnover. I think when people are a little bit younger, people's lives change more often. Money and time tend to be tighter for them. And, not to, I will also say attention spans tend to also be a little bit shorter. So there have been some problems. And I think that there's a reason that your average volunteer tends to be whiter, older, and more affluent. So we're exploring a lot in this new recruitment of how do we counteract this? Like, do we maybe counteract it with funding, with trying to raise some funds and find some grant money in order to provide a stipend to folks that want to be on the board, but maybe couldn't afford it otherwise? So those are some things that we're kind of rolling around in our head in order to create a little bit more stability in our board, because we would like to be able to get people on the board and have them serve for their full 2 years without feeling like they have to step away. So those are some things that we're playing with right now. I mean, right now I feel like we're in a really good place with our board. We just had a couple of people, 2 people moved to the East Coast, and 2 people had big job changes. So you go from a board of 10 to a board of 5 in under 3 months. It's a little bit like, oh my God. So yeah, so I think that's kind of everything that I wanted to share. I mean, I'm happy to share specifics about events, like speaking about having community partners and creating community partnerships. Next Friday is the launch of our collaboration MISO. So during all the bean work last year, we approached a local miso company, and we are we gave them I kind of reached out to them and said, if I provide you with Santa Maria Pinquito beans, would you try and create a miso out of it? And they were game. So we bought those beans from Rancho Gordo, so a local bean seller. We worked with the miso company, and we worked with a local spice importer to find a spice that they felt worked with the beans. So it has been simmering away in its very large barrel for about 9 months. And they just jarred it the other day. I have a big jug of it in my refrigerator right now. So next week, we're going to be celebrating the launch of that by holding a fermentation happy hour. So we invited a number of other organizations that make fermented beverages or fermented foods. So we'll have a couple of food and beverage vendors, and then all of our partners with the miso collaboration. We each have a small table, and we'll just have a couple of short talks about where the miso project came from. We'll have a little fermentation talk and a little fermentation demo. So kind of taking the idea of miso and making it a little bit bigger. And we're holding it at a local winery because that is also a fermented food.
That's awesome. And like I personally got into miso recently. And to back up Joe's comment, fermented foods are good. And honestly, I should be eating more of them because I would probably have a stronger gut currently if I did so.
This miso is so good. It's like, it kind of tastes like pizza. I mean, that sounds so strange, but it tastes like pizza. It's got like a little, it's like you would almost think that there's tomato paste in it. It's crazy.
That's incredible.
So, really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should mention just one more thing, sorry, with the miso project. As we were thinking about launching it, we also reached out to local restaurants and basically asked if they would buy the miso, so they have to pay for it, but if they would feature it on their menu in a dish for anywhere from a week to a month, and mention both Slow Food and Shared Cultures miso on the menu for the dish. So once those are going to start to roll out the week after the launch party. So with each of them, so basically in exchange for them doing that, we'll be highlighting them on all of our social media feeds and in our newsletter as well. So helping to drive some business to them. And they are also then kind of driving some interest back to us. And we really reached out. It's a really wide range of restaurants. It's everything from Green's restaurant in San Francisco, which is a pretty famous vegetarian restaurant, to a local little taco truck, or it's not even a truck, it's now a brick and mortar, but it's in a shipping container on 40th Street in the middle of Oakland called Tacos Oscar. So they are going to be featuring it as well for a week. So I think we've got 8 or 9 restaurants on board that are going to be featuring it for a week or two.
Wow. So. That kind of touches on Penny's question about, are you selling it?
Yeah, it'll be sold by Shared Cultures. So Shared Cultures, they do what they call, like, I think it's like quarterly throughout the year, they do what they call shop updates or shop drops, where they release all of their new and seasonal flavors of their miso, and people can buy them online, and they either deliver them or you can get them sent. So anyone here, and I can drop information about Shared Cultures, and people will be able to buy it. And what we asked of, so Shared Cultures is giving a percentage of their sales to us, to Slow Food East Bay, for the project. And then with our restaurant partners, we had a couple of asks, which were to feature us in some of their social media, to mention us on their menu. And then we had some optional asks. We said, like, if they felt it was possible to give a percentage of the sales to us, but we didn't require that. Because again, kind of going back to the not wanting to ask our hospitality industry to give even more than what they already give. So we did, I think 2 of the 9 restaurants are going to give us a percentage of the sales.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great. And I think personally, I guess a question that I have, or is, do you have like just like a copy, like a document that you send to these restaurants, like making specific asks? Because a lot of conversations we've had with different chapter leaders, it's like, oh, we partner with this organization. Oh, we partner with this organization. But what that document looks like and what that partnership looks like is,
yeah. Let me, I will pull it up as we are here, and I can and I can drop the link to it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think that, yeah, that's perfect, because in a weird way, we have all these conversations, and like from the chapter perspective, but also like Slow Food USA national perspective, is we say we're in these partnerships, but there's a lot of legwork and
yeah,
or maybe not so much legwork, but like literally it's just an email, and what that email looks like is super helpful to folks, because no one likes to reinvent the wheel.